First, I'd like to announce Landon joining the Illini family. Great moment for us, and hopefully a great moment for him and his family. Very excited about his future and his continued growth on the basketball floor here. And a young man that fits us, very athletic, very physically big and strong. Fits the positional size and shooting. And then a very, very good athlete. So excited to have him on board, and look forward to to his time and following him throughout the season. Plays on one of the best teams in Iowa, and should be in line for a great season. So obviously feel good about the outcome the other night. We did a lot of really good things. On both ends, I was, as happens so often when you play a high-level team, there's going to be a game of runs. We had one there at the end of the first half. They made one to start the second, and then it just settled into just a really good college basketball game. So, really pleased. We did some good things on both sides of the ball. Toppin was special, and I thought Dre was really good in his minutes. His conditioning has still got to get better. I thought we played Merck a lot of minutes. That's a factor with Tommy out, but again, nice win, and now it's on to Colgate, an NCAA tournament team, in my opinion. Watching them play. Very skilled. Their system is spectacular in terms of what they do. The court's very open. They've got bigs who can shoot it. They cut. Everything's read-based. They've got a very, very good point guard who lives in the paint. Has great speed. They'll mix up defenses. I would expect to see a decent amount of zone. But we played them 2 years ago, and know that it's a team that's built to win championships, and they've done that quite a lot in that conference, and I think this is one of their better teams.
How much are you thinking about role identification, given that you have significant pieces that have been in and out with injuries?
It's all I ever think about. It's hard to plan if you don't think about it. I think that's one of the things that I spend a lot of time on, is finding guys who are comfortable coming off the bench, guys that start, the lineups that work. How many minutes can guys play effectively? All of that stuff plays into role identification, and we've just been not able to do that. We haven't had everybody in practice yet, and so you just kind of got to do it with feel and play guys as they earn their minutes and earn their time back, and find the opportunities. Once games start, it's you go with what you have. So I think about it all the time. And it was nice to win the other night without Tommy. We know what a significant piece he is, and it's Mihajlo and Brandon are guys that we think can help us, and yet we just don't know. So we don't know how it all pieces together yet.
Do you expect Mihajlo to play tomorrow night?
We'll see. Again, we're at a point now with him. He practiced today. Everything is about what the recovery piece is after. Brandon did some things today. I would expect Brandon to be in uniform. I don't know what that'll look like yet. With him, it's just how sore he is. With Mihajlo, it's the hamstring. We don't want to aggravate it, so I'll listen to the trainers and the doctors on that. But I would hope so. I would hope we could start being able to get those guys back in.
Is there any update on Ty at all?
No.
Fans are all kind of speculating on what the team is going to look like when it is whole. Do you care to weigh in on that? What kind of team you're going to
I
have?
care less what they really think. It doesn't matter, does it? I mean, that gives all you guys something to talk about, I guess, but I've never really, I don't read anything you guys say or listen to anything, so it doesn't matter. I don't know. I mean, there's no real answer to that. So I just, when we have them, because I don't know. So I'm not going to speculate on something I truly don't know, because we still have not had Merck, Mihailo and Andre all really on the court for any length of time. We had them in practice today, but it's been about it.
I guess, was Kylan on JT? Was that just in your back pocket and in case of emergency defensive change?
Well, it's a nice advantage to have. We knew if we needed to switch, we could do that. Switch that ball screen was something that we had practiced a lot. We talked about a lot. We saw Bam guard Cooper last year, and there was some success with that. So we feel comfortable. Bam's strength allows him to do a lot of different things, but that was what was called for, and we practiced it and knew that it was something that became apparent we could do that because Dre was guarding Anderson on the ball and had some success.
Does Cam give you a little extra insight into the Colgate prep?
Yeah, I think he knows him pretty well. It's a unique situation for him, and he's obviously so much respect for that program and working there, and the relationship's great. And he's been a cog in what they're doing and for a while, and so you don't make too much out of that, in terms of there's some familiarity obviously with players, but every team kind of gets their own identity, and you take it. This is a good basketball team. They took Michigan State right down to the wire, and like you said, you can tell they're built to win, and they've done that at a pretty high level.
I went back and looked, and Jalen Cox came off the bench for them a couple years ago when he played him. Now he's their guy. Just what have you maybe noticed about him?
Speed. He's got great size. He's got great speed. He gives them really kind of a one-man fast break at times. But he's a guy that very willing passer. He's got a terrific mid-range game. He's a challenge to stay in front of. And yet, with pick and pop bigs, you've got to respect him, and you got to be able to contain three-point shooting from their bigs, and they do that at a very high level. So he's the engine that drives them. There's no doubt. He's a very, very good player.
What does growth look like for David and building on what he's done so far?
Yeah, I thought he played a little sped up the other night. I think it's continuing to understand scouting and what teams do to him. We're putting him in a lot of different positions in a lot of different places. He had a really good segment in the game the other night where we put some isolations on him. He's a very willing passer, and he overpassed. He had opportunities to go score the ball one-on-one and didn't. But I just think as teams scout him and he sees different matchups with whether it's a guard on him, whether it's a big on him, his game's going to continue to mature, and we got to help him through those things.
To make 17 threes in game one and then 0 in the second half on Tuesday, still be effective. What does that say about your offense, the different ways that you can beat teams?
I hope it's a good thing. Texas Tech's unique. They don't get into a lot of rotation. I think it's just speaks more to playing the opponent than playing a certain way. I think it's again, Tech does a great job of staying out of rotation, so they don't give you those shots. There's a lot of switching. There was they do a great job of warming over screens, so you don't get a lot of that. And they made an adjustment from one half to the next. So, to me, the most important part of that was, Kylan, Keaton, David, Dre, especially those 4 guys, their ability to play in ISOs and take advantage of matchups. And we've spent a ton of time working on that aspect of basketball this summer. And, it's one of the things that we had to get better at. So, I hope it shows growth, and we've got multiple guys who can be effective in those types of situations.
Andre seemed to handle the long minutes both games pretty well. How do you feel on Wednesday? And
Not really. He played more minutes than I would have expected him to play. He was gassed, and he asked multiple times to come out. The timeout was for him in particular. Making sure that he was in a good spot. The timeouts came in the right time. I was excited for him that he got through it. But I think that was, you just don't do nothing for 7 or 8 weeks and expect to be great. But he got through it. He was effective, and I think we'll still got 2-3 steps yet to get to be effective, to play both ends. His rebounding effort was really low, his percentages, and that's conditioning. And we've talked about that, but all that'll change with reps and minutes.
The metrics like Ken Palm, like you right now, are they meaningful to you 3 games in?
It's probably a little early. I think that you see different crazy things. I think that you see Duke win by 50 at Army, but it's a road win, and all of a sudden they just jump by everybody. So you to say I don't pay attention to them would be not telling the truth. I do, much more than the polls. But you start to see trends. But most teams haven't been on the road. A lot of your high major teams haven't been on the road yet. Teams are starting to get into playing high level games. All of that's adjusting. We're still playing without Tommy. So I think there's so much basketball to go. It's nice to be up there, but it's a long season and a lot of metrics left to look at.
About Landon, just when talking with him, he said that playing this summer with our fun, like he had to figure out how to play outside the post because he's not going to just play his 7-footers. Like, what did you like about maybe that newer aspect of his game?
Yeah, it's just great versatility. He's a very willing passer. He's got great feet. He can really move defensively. That's what I was probably the most impressed with, his ability to guard others, not just 5 men, because he's the biggest guy in his high school team, or he wasn't on his AAU team, but he's going to be a terrific shooter. He's a great passer. He understands the game. It's all the little things that he does, understanding angles. He can deck it. So that was easy. That was watching his skill set and seeing his versatility was pleasing.
Seems like it's been a process over the last few years of coaches trying to figure out what role high school recruiting plays along with the portal and Europeans and all that kind of stuff. Have you figured that out? Which direction you want to go?
Yeah, both. I think that there's a tremendous value in freshmen. I think that as we settle into rev share, and seeing what that looks like, the continued development of freshmen and maybe the rev share numbers go up for them as they develop and stay in your program. But I do think there's always going to be some value in age and experience. And I think there's as you take young guys and they declare for the draft or they move on, it's going to be one way. The portal especially is going to be one way to get healthy again, you know, so to speak, in terms of the recruiting side of things. But you know, I think with Europe, with international kids, not just Europe, but international kids, high school kids from the States, the portal, we have some avenues that we're going to be very active in recruiting. So it's going to take all facets of that to build a great program.
I think Dre only took and made one mid-range jumper on Tuesday, but it looked pretty smooth and natural. Like, where does that fit? 'Cause I know you talked a lot about shot selection heading into the year. Where does his mid-range game fit in there?
Well, he's got a terrific mid-range game. It's what he's lived on, and I think that there's been we have an understanding he's going to take some of those. I think the biggest challenge is us trying to get him to understand when to take those. 22 or 23 on the shot clock. We don't need that, and you know, he takes those late. He's a guy who can go make those. Yeah, we're a little more willing. I would love to see his free throw attempts up. You know, his ability to continue to get downhill. He's a very, very crafty ball handler. He's got a lot of finishing skills. You know, around the rim with either hand. I would love to see him continue to keep trying to get that there, and his rim decisions become, you know, have just gotten much better in terms of being able to pass it. So, yeah, you know, he's a mid-range player that has had a lot of success at it. We don't want to take that away from him, but again, just kind of understand that he's got other guys out there too that we don't have to settle.
What do you want to see from Mahalo when you do get him back on the floor, just as he settles into a role alongside your other guards?
Yeah, it's not that easy to just be that specific. You know, run our team. You know, I think he's got a speed that we need, and is a change of pace for us. You know, the IQ thing I like. He can make every pass. You know, and just you know, fitting into what we're doing and playing with his teammates, and I'm excited to see that. You know, he's very competitive. He'll fight on the defensive side, but you know, he's got just a different gear that most of our guys don't have.